Okay, so we'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Let's do Mangalacharan prayers all together. Om
Om
Ajnanatirmirandasya
Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana
Jnananjalakaya
Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam
Chakshurunmilitam
Yena
Yena Tasmai Shri
Tasmai
Gurave Namah.
Namaha.
Shri
Namah Sri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Sri Chaitanya
Manobishtam
Manobishtam
Papitam
Stapitam
Yena
Yena
Bhutale
Bhutale
Swayam
Swayam
Rupa
Vayam
Rupa
Rupa
Pradamaya
Yam
Padamayam Dadati
Dadati
Swapadantikam.
Swapadantikam
Vandeham
Vandeham
Shri
Sri
Guru
Vandeham
Guru
Sri
Shri
Guru
Yuta
Sri
Yutapadakamala
Tadakamalam Sri
Shri
Gurun
Gurun
Vaishnavanscha
Vaishnavanscha
Sri
Shri
Rupam
Rupam
Sagrajatam Sahagana
Sagrajatam Sahagana
Raghunathanvitam
Raghunatham
Tam Sajivam
Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam
Sarvaitam
Savadhitam
Savadhitam
Parijana
Parijana
Sahitam
Sahitam Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Devam
Devam Shri Radha Krishna
Radha Krishna
Padan
Padan Saha
Sahagana Lalita Shri
Lalitam
Vishakhan Vitamsha
Vishakam Vitanshcha.
He Krishna
He Krishna
Karuna
Karuna
Sindhu
Sindhu
Dīnabandhu
Dīnabandhu
Jagatpate
Jagatpate
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
Kanta
Radha Kanta
Radhakanta
Namostate
Namostate.
तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय
विष्णुप्रेष्ठाय
भूतले
भूतले
श्रीमते
श्रीमते
भक्तिवेदान्त
भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामी
स्वामी
इति
इति
नामिने
नामिने।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
सरस्वते देवे
सरस्वते देवे
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
गौरवाणी
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी
पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे।
जय श्री कृष्ण
श्री कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानंद
श्री अद्वैत
श्री अद्वैत
गदाधर
गदाधर
श्रीवासादि
वासादि
गौरभक्त वृंद
गौरभक्तवृंद।
हरे कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 हरे
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 राम हरे
राम हरे
राम
राम
राम राम
राम
हरे हरे।
राम हरे हरे।
श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय, श्लोकपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। हरे कृष्णा। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Again, thank you so much for joining. Let's begin our. Where am I? Okay, let's Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from chapter 10. Yeah, we will continue the qualities.
Yes.
So I'll just recite the verse, we'll not repeat it. We started this last week and we'll continue because there are lots of qualities and Prabhupada elaborates on each quality much briefly in the purport. So what Krishna is saying here, that all these qualities, and what are those? Like buddhir, jñānam, asammohaḥ, kṣamā, satyaṁ, damaḥ, śamaḥ, sukhaṁ, duḥkhaṁ, bhavo, bhāvo, bhayaṁ, cābhayam eva ca, ahiṁsā, samatā, tuṣṭis, tapo, dānaṁ, yaśo, yaśaḥ, bhavanti, bhava, bhūtānāṁ, matta eva pṛthag-vidhāḥ. So he's saying that all these qualities like intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone. Again, this is Krishna makes very bold statements here, and this is another one here, that all these qualities, what we see around us in living entities, Krishna says that they are created by me alone. And alone, that is the emphasis. Only by me they are. Eva, certainly that is the word used here. Matta eva pṛthag-vidhāḥ. They are variously created, certainly only by me. And then we read purport last time, but maybe what we can do is, there are still 4 of us. I saw somebody joining 5th one. I don't know who it was. Let me check it.
प्रभुजी बहुतेक मी दुसऱ्या डिव्हाइस वरने जॉइन केलं होतं
Okay,
ना.
so you
दोन
were
device
switching that
काहीतरी
time.
on होतं.
I don't see any messages so far in the group that somebody said they may not join or something. But okay, so we can continue. So do we want to read the purport again today, just to refresh?
We can read once.
Yeah, just read once. So maybe why don't you start, Rajesh Prabhu? And we'll continue discussing from, I think, this part here, control, from the 3rd paragraph. But we can read the whole purport. Yeah. So let's read the purport. So Rajesh Prabhu.
Yeah. The different qualities of living entities, be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna, and they are described here. 1 minute. Intelligence refers to the power to analyze things in their proper perspective. And knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit and what is matter. Ordinary knowledge obtained by university education pertains only to matter, and it is not accepted here as knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the distinction between spirit and matter. In modern education, there is no knowledge about spirit. They are simply taking care of the material elements and bodily needs. Therefore, academic knowledge is not complete. Asammohaḥ, freedom from doubt and delusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Kṣamā, tolerance and forgiveness should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyaṁ, truthfulness, means that facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to social convention, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. But it is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and if people are warned that he is a thief, that is the truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for benefit of others. That is definition of truth. Control of the senses means that the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. That is called kṣamā. One should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. That is a misuse of the thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessary of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. The power of thought should be developed in association with persons who are authorities in the scriptures, saintly persons and spiritual masters, and those whose thinking is highly developed. Sukhaṁ, pleasure or happiness should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of the spiritual knowledge of Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and anything unfavorable should be rejected.
Thank you, Rajesh. We will have
Yeah.
someone else read. How about Rajesh Rantaraman Prabhu? You want to read from Bhavo?
Bhava from there, right?
Bhavo, yeah.
Bhava. Birth should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. That we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because by his activities he is sure to go back to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what the next life holds. So they are therefore in constant anxiety. If we want to get free from anxiety, then the best course is to understand Krishna and be situated always in Krishna consciousness. In that way, he will be free from all fear. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37, it is stated, bhayaṁ bhayaṁ abhiniveshatah. Veshatah sat. Fear is caused. Bhayaṁ abhiniveshatah stat. Fear is caused by our absorption in the illusory energy. But those who are free from the illusory energy, those who are confident that they are not the material body, that they are spiritual parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who are therefore engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Godhead, have nothing to fear. Their future is very bright. This fear is a condition of persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. Abhayam, fearlessness, is possible only for one in Krishna consciousness. Ahiṁsā, non-violence, means that one should not do anything which will put others into misery or confusion. Material activities that are promised by so many politicians, sociologists, philanthropists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for human society. Ahiṁsā means that people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body can be achieved. The human body is meant for spiritual realization. So any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence on the body. That which furthers the future, spiritual happiness of the people in general, is called non-violence.
Thank you, Prabhu. Chandrakant
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
you want to continue next page?
Samatā, equanimity, refers to the freedom from attachment and aversion. To be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. This material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted. That which is unfavorable should be rejected. That is called samatā, equanimity. A person in Krishna consciousness has nothing to reject and nothing to accept, save in terms of its usefulness in the prosecution of Krishna consciousness. Tuṣṭis, satisfaction, means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods by unnecessary activity. One should be satisfied with whatever is obtained by the grace of the Supreme Lord. That is called satisfaction. Tapas means austerity or penance. There are many rules and regulations in the Vedas which apply here, like rising early in the morning and taking a bath. Sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but whatever voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions from fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice such fasting, but because of his determination to make advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness, he should accept such bodily troubles when they are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose. That is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance, and anything done in ignorance or passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one. However, and fasting done in terms of the Vedic injunctions enriches one in spiritual knowledge.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think Kiran Prabhu joined here, right? So, yeah. Oh, okay. So, Kiran Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Are you able to read?
Actually, I'm having problem with my specs now, so I'm not able.
Okay,
I can
no
hear.
worries. Yeah. So, Chandrakant Prabhu, I think you can continue.
Yeah. As far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earning to some good cause. And what is good cause? Is it that which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness? That is not only a good cause, but the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is also good. Thus, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to Vedic literature, it is enjoined that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. This practice is still followed, although not very nicely in terms of Vedic injunctions. But still, the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. A Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life to understanding Brahman. Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. One who knows Brahman is called Brahmana. Thus, charity is offered to the Brahmanas because they are always engaged in higher spiritual service and have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one in the renounced order of life, the sannyas. The sannyasi. The sannyasis beg from door to door, not for money, but for missionary purpose. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken the householders from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and have forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness. It is the business of the sannyasis to go as a beggar and the householders and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due him in the human form of life. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. Hence, charity is to be given to the renouncer of life, to the Brahmanas, and similar good causes, not to any whimsical cause. Yaś's fame should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. This is real fame. If one has become a great man in Krishna consciousness and it is known, then he is truly famous. One who does not have such fame is infamous. All these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of the demigods. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities, but the person develops them himself from within. One who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities as arranged by the Supreme Lord. Of whether we find good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in this material world which is not in Krishna. That is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna.
Thank you very much, Bhavo. So again, very long purport. And we started last week. I think we discussed first couple of paragraphs, the qualities like intelligence. Intelligence is the quality which we can discriminate what is good and what is bad, what is to accept and what is to reject. So that intelligence gives us that knowledge to analyze, power of analyze things. And knowledge, here it said that knowledge is not some information, material information that we gather, but the actual knowledge is the distinction between what is spiritual and what is material. But unfortunately, in the modern education system, there is no knowledge about the spiritual thing. As in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we learn Sankhya Yoga, where Krishna, very first lesson Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita is Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. That he says, just like in this deha, the soul transmigrates from one body to another, from his childhood to youth to old age. We are changing the body, but the soul remains same. Similarly, at the time of death, he changes, he takes another body. So that is a bigger change. But a person who has understanding about this, who is in knowledge, he is not bewildered. He is not in pain or anything. He is not in anxiety. So that's the very first lesson. Then we also discussed asammohaḥ last week. That is the freedom from doubts and delusion. And when a person understands his real identity and when his real position with full conviction, then he has nothing to be, no doubt about his journey in this life or in another life also. And there is no delusion. He's never bewildered because he knows what his goal is and he's always working towards that goal. So he's always free from that type of bewilderment. Kṣamā is one of the very important qualities on the path of spiritual realization. Kṣamā, tolerance. Unfortunately, in today's world, we have become so intolerant that on a very small things we are ready to fight. So tolerance and forgiveness is very, very important. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his instructions, in one of the instructions, he says that Pranadapi sunechena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadari. So we should always be chanting Krishna's name, Hari's name, kirtaniya sadari. But with what mood? Pranadapi sunechena. So we should be very humble than the blade of grass. तृण तृण आपण जे म्हणतो सगळीकडे पडलेलं असतं. People come and trample on it and just walk around it. But the गवत कधीच प्रतिकार करत नाही. It never says anything. So we should be tolerant like this. Even if somebody tramples up or somebody says something to us, we should tolerate that. Trinadapi suneshana. Taror iva sahishnuna. Taro means tree. And trees are very, very tolerant. They are sahishnu. They are continuously standing in torrents of rain, sun, or wind and tolerating all the disturbance that is created by environment. And even for the living entities, they enjoy the shade and fruits of the trees and they eventually cut the trees, but the trees never retaliate or do anything. So that's how a devotee should be. Tranadapi sunechena taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena, and he should be ready to give respect to even a person who doesn't deserve any respect. And in return, he should never expect any respect. So with that mode, kirtaniya sadahari, we should always be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Always glorifying Krishna's name. So that quality is very important. And we see in the historic evidences, wherever we glories of famous devotees are mentioned, like Prahlad Maharaj, he was his father, his own father who should protect him, tried to kill him just because he had some ideological differences and he was devotee of Krishna and he was not following what his father was telling, and he was staunch devotee of Krishna. Just because of that difference, his father couldn't tolerate it and he was ready to kill him. But Prahlad did not even once say anything to his father. He rather was trying to give him all the good counsel that you should not do this and you should always take the name of God, because he's the one who is giving us everybody power. So that type of tolerance is required. So tolerance should be practiced. Satyam, and Satyam, truthfulness, we should always speak truth. That is one of the very important qualities when we open our mouth. Actually, there are 5 things that we need to remember before opening our mouth for saying anything. And that is actually called tapo of vani, tapo or austerity of speech. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapo uchyate. Krishna says in the 17th chapter that we should, before we speak, we should, that whatever we are going to speak, we should have 5 different tests. First is anudvegakaram, that it is not going to create udveg in others' mind, whoever is what I'm doing. So it is not agitating to others. Whatever I am speaking, it should be sweet. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam, it should always be truth. And if I don't know if it is truth or not, I should rather not speak it. Satyam. Priyam. Priya means it should be palatable. It should be, and hitam means it should be beneficial. So all these things, when I am telling, I should make sure that it is not agitating, it is satyam, truth, it is palatable, or it is spoken in a nicer way, and then it is also beneficial to everyone. And other than this, if I am opening my mouth, swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva, and then only for reciting mantras or hymns or discussing pastimes or discussing instructions from Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means Vedic literature, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedas, Puranas, everything. So if I am reciting those mantras, then I should open mouth, or otherwise, if I am speaking something, I should take care that all these factors are followed. So that is called Vangmayam Tapo Uchyate, Tapa of Vani. So that is very, very important. And this is what Satyam, Prabhupada says that Satyam should be, we should be straightforward and it should be spoken in a very bluntly. This is the definition of truth. Now, this is what we had discussed last week. So control of senses or śamaḥ. So senses, many times we unfortunately have misconception about senses. Many friends and people I talk to, they always say that, oh, God has created this world for our enjoyment. So why don't we enjoy it to the fullest? Why should we reserve? Why should we do control other things? But that is not, even though this world is created to fulfill our desires, but those desires are what are keeping us in this world. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhūtāni sammoha sarge yanti parantapa. Krishna says in the 7th chapter that ichha and dvesha, this creates dvandva and moha in our mind, and that keeps us bound in this material world, that keeps us away from the liberation. So all these desires to enjoy through the senses are keeping us here. That's why we should not completely stop using them, but controlling, regulating, that is what is required. Our Shastra says that we should regulate our senses. We should control as to the best of our ability, not forcefully that will hamper our path or anything. So this, and the senses should be actually used for satisfaction of Krishna. That's what the definition of bhakti is. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. In Narada Pancharatrika, Narad Muni give this definition. Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Rishika means senses, and Rishika Isha, Rishikesha is Krishna. He is the controller of the senses. So he is the controller and owner of all the senses that all living entity have. So if he is the controller and owner, then we should actually use these senses for his satisfaction. And that is actually bhakti. Rishikena, so using the Rishika, Rishikesha Sevanam, for his seva, bhakti uchyate. That is what is called bhakti. So unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental in spiritual advancement. That's why if we see, when somebody is on the path of spiritual advancement, on self-realization, they slowly start controlling the senses. So therefore, senses should be restrained from unnecessary use. They should be used for Krishna's service. And how can we use senses for serving Krishna? So there are so many examples given in the scriptures. We should use our ability to speak to glorify Krishna, or to talk about him, or to recite the verses from Bhagavad Gita, or verses from in other scriptures, or chanting mantra, or singing his kirtan. We should eat the tongue for, we should use the tongue only for tasting prasadam, not unnecessary abominable things. That's why the restrictions are there. We should never eat meat or such kind of food, because that degrades our consciousness. It pollutes our mind and we cannot think correctly. Same thing about our hands. We should always use for serving Krishna's lotus feet, cleaning temple, doing some seva. We should use our legs for going from places to places to visit Krishna, or talking about him, or giving his instructions to others, or hearing his instructions in somewhere, wherever there it is going on. Or we should use our eyes always to see Krishna's deities and paraphernalia, or to read his instruction. We should use our ears to hear his glories and instructions from Bhagavad Gita, wherever it is there. So all these things are given. So we should use these senses somehow or other in his service. Similarly, shama. So this is dhamma and shama. So dhamma means controlling the senses, and shama is controlling the mind, shaman. So our mind is said to be the king of all the senses, which can control all the senses. But if we try to forcefully control the senses, they are so much stronger that it is very difficult to control senses. Even for a person, and mind on top of that is very strong. Actually, Arjuna says in the 6th chapter, when Krishna gives his yoga practice to him, he explains the whole yoga practice, that one should go to a secluded place, then focus his mind on Paramatma in the heart, sit straight, don't close your eyes completely, but look at the tip of the nose, and then abstain for certain things and all that stuff. And Arjuna says, wow, that is difficult. And then he says, Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramadhi balavad drudham. That mana is so chanchal, so obstinate, that to control the mind is very, very difficult. And he says that vayor eva sadushkaram, that one time one can control the wind, but to control mind is difficult than controlling the wind. So that's why then how can we do this thing? We can engage our mind in thinking of Krishna. We can think about the instructions, what he has given, or think about his past. And there are so many stories about Krishna or his devotees, and all those, they are described in Srimad Bhagavatam or other Vedic literature, or his devotees, doesn't matter. So that's how we can control mind. And most of the time in material world, we use our mind in how I can increase my wealth, how I can grow my power, how I can get better position. how I can become famous. So all these things, it is said that we should try not to use our mind for this, because there is no limit to this. So whatever comes to us on its own accord, by doing work what we can do with our own ability, not doing extra endeavors and not working very hard for that, that we should be satisfied with. We should always be satisfied with that. And that is one of the qualities he says, tuṣṭis. Then sukhaṁ. Sukhaṁ is always depending on how the person is. Actually, in the 18th chapter, sukha in satogun, sukha in tamogun, and sukha in rajogun are all described. So a person who is in satogun, his sukha is different. His thought about, conception about happiness is different. And the person in tamogun, his conception about happiness is different. The person, so it is said that something that is palatable in the beginning, but that is painful in the end, is called happiness or sukha in ignorance. So something like drinking or eating abominable things. So that may seem palatable or enjoyable in the beginning, but the after effects are really bad. So that is happiness. That is the conception of happiness in ignorance, or tamogun. Tamasic vritticha lokansa happiness tasastra. Then something, actually, that is not even tamogun, that is rajogun. Tamogun is always bewildered. They don't even know what is really happiness, though they engage in such an abominable thing, like even up to creating havoc and giving trouble to other people, and they will enjoy that. They will find happiness doing abominable things to other people, torturing them, kind of thing. So that is tamogun. And happiness in satogun is something in the beginning may seem troublesome, but in the end it is fine. Just like going for an exam. So in the beginning, the preparation of exam seems very troublesome. But one who is in knowledge, he knows that if I go and take this exam, when the result comes, that will be happier and it will improve my life. And person who is in transcendental, then he is not worried about anything, any of these gunas, and his happiness is at completely spiritual level. So happiness and distress, they come from sense perception in this material world for materialistic people. But we should be able to tolerate those. Krishna says in the 2nd chapter, 14th verse, Matra sparshāstu kaunteya shītoshna sukha dukkhada agama paino nityam stam titikshasva bharata. That this happiness and distress are like, they come and go just like seasons come and go. Shītoshna sukha dukkhada. And they agama apaina, they come and go. Somebody is never always happy and somebody is never always in distress. They come and go, just like seasons come and go. But what should a person who is on spiritual path, what should he do? Tams titikshasva bharata, titiksha. He should learn to tolerate this, tolerate the distress as well as tolerate happiness. Both we should learn to tolerate. Then bhava, birth, bhava and abhava. So birth and death. Bhava means to become. So we are always becoming here. We are taking another body, different types of body. That's why this world where we are again and again taking different types of bodies, that's why it is called bhava sagar. We are always becoming something. Just like we given in old days, ayushyaman bhava. So you get a long life. Bhava means become something. Or ashtaputra saubhagyavati bhava. So that when we give some ashirwad, so we say you become something good. So that bhava means becoming something. So here the word literally is birth. So that is always coming. So as far as soul is concerned, there is no birth or there is no death. But we are misidentifying ourselves with the body. We think that this body is me and everything that is related to this body is mine. And because of that illusion is called Maya. Because I am in that Maya, I am under the control of that illusory energy of Krishna that is called Maya. I am always going through this happiness and distress. So something that becomes favorable to this body, I take that as happiness, and something that becomes unfavorable to this body or something related to this body, I take that as distress. And this is related to, so if I belong to a country, so if something happens to that country, because I associate with that country, I am very distressed. Or something that raises that country's pride, I become happy. India won the World Cup. Yay, I am Indian, I am happy. Or India lost the World Cup, I'm so distressed. Just because I associate myself with that piece of land called India, and I associate with that nationality. But that is called as a thinking of people who are animalistic. Yasyasti buddhi bhagavati कुणपेत्र धातु के स्वधिकलत्रादि शुभो इज्जति सएव गोखर. So those type of people, yasya asti buddhi kunapeti dhatuke, one who thinks by his intelligence himself as this kunape. Kunape means bag, or in Marathi we used to say gonpat. So if we think ourselves as this bag of skin which is filled with three dhatu, according to Ayurveda, our whole body is made of three dhatus, kapha, pitta, vayu. So one who thinks himself as this body made up of bones and sorry about that. So one who thinks himself as this just bag of bones and blood and mucus and all that, yasyasti buddhi kunapetri dhatve swadi kalatradi shubhavamaichadi, and he associate himself, or he thinks that all these people are mine. Who? Kalatra means wife. Kalatra adi. Bhauma means the land he is born in. And he worships that land because he is born in. So that's what we call as Desha Bhakti. So that is rejected according to Vedic literature. It is because it is on the bodily platform of life. So those people are called as Saeva Gokhara. Avigneshut Saeva Gokhara. So they are considered as like cows and asses. Cow means even though he's a nicer person, he is animalistic person because he doesn't know who he really is. Or khara means donkey, who is just living, working very hard and living for nothing. So that's why bhava. So this body is not us. We are spiritual being, and we get this body so that we had so many desires, and Krishna has created this world and he gives us different types of bodies to try to enjoy our desires. But we actually are spiritual entities. So the person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because his activities are, and by his activities, he is sure, he's guaranteed to go back in the spiritual kingdom. That's where we belong to. And fear, so fear is also one of the qualities, and this is very beautiful verse, bhayaṁ dvitiya abhiniveshatasya. So why does fear come? Why do we get afraid? Why are you being anxiety? Because we misidentify ourselves with our second nature. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshata syat. Dvitiya, our real nature is we are spiritual being. Our original nature is we are spiritual entity. And our second nature, because we have taken some body, that I identify with this material body. And because I identify with this material body, my second nature, I am always in anxiety. What will happen to this body? What will happen to my wife? What will happen to my children? Will I die someday? I will get sick. All these things come because I identify myself with this body. That's the source, root cause of bhaya, fear. It's a very beautiful verse actually. Let's read the translation. We can quickly go there. So it says that bhayam dvitiyabhiniveshata syat ishadapetasya viparyayo smriti. We lose our smriti because of that. Tanmayayato buddha abhajetta bhaktaikayesham gurudevatatma. So what is the translation? Fear arises when living entity misidentifies himself as material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord under Maya. So he identifies with the material body. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his original constitutional position as servant of the Lord. So his original, the first nature is servant of the Lord. His constitutional position, our constitutional position as a spiritual spark is to serve the supreme spark, Paramatma. So this bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion called Maya, that Krishna's potency. And therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. But last line. Bhakti ek isham gurudevatatma. So he should engage in bhakti for Ishwar under guidance of Guru, and that Guru he should treat as Deva. So that's what the last line says. So therefore, the intelligent person engage unflinchingly in bhakti, unalloyed devotional service of the Lord, under guidance of Guru, spiritual master, and whom he should consider as Devatatma. So the position of Guru is very important because he is the one who guides us on this spiritual path, who helps us know our true identity. And when we work under his guidance, all the bhaya will go away. So that's the root cause of bhaya. Bhayam dvitiya viniveshatasya. And so an abhayam, obviously, when one is one who knows his true identity, then he is fearless. Then he doesn't have anything to fear because he knows this material body, it is going to go away one day. But I am not going to die. I am spiritual being. That is my real identity. So he has nothing to fear about. Ahiṁsā. So ahiṁsā is, in general, we talk about ahiṁsā a lot. And we think that ahiṁsā is harming physically others. But that is not the meaning of ahiṁsā. Ahiṁsā has much, much deeper meaning according to Vedic literature. Ahiṁsā means not giving opportunity to the person for his real full potential. Stopping him from doing what he is supposed to do and what he is capable of. That is himsa. And helping him on that path is ahimsa. It's a very deep meaning if you think that way. So as a human being, our real duty is to athato brahma jñāsa. I should inquire about my real identity. What is Brahman? What is my real position? So that is the real potential of a human form of life. And if I am not doing that myself, I am doing himsa to myself. That is actually called suicide. If I am not inquiring about my real potential and my not using this human form of life for that goal, the highest goal I can achieve, that I am doing spiritual suicide. And that is himsa I am doing on myself. And if I am stopping others also according to that, and I am not giving this knowledge to others, I am doing himsa for others also. Very, very deep meaning of himsa. So non-violence means that one should not do anything which will put them into misery or confusion. And material activities of, so this is, they do not produce any good result. So all these politicians, humanitarian activities, sociologists, philanthropists, whatever they are going, that actually is not helping in longer term to anyone. It is just putting band-aid. It is just temporary relief from some limited misery. The ultimate goal, one should tell every human form of life how he can get free from all the miserable conditions, all the miseries. And that is getting free from this material life completely. We are all diseased, and all these people, even if they are doing something, trying to do something good, but it is just like putting band-aid on a cancer wound. It is not curing the cancer. It is giving temporary relief from a pain. It's like a painkiller. It is not curing the root disease, but just the temporary relief. So ahimsa means people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of human body can be achieved. Durlabha manava janma. This human form of life is called in spiritual scriptures very, very rare. Actually, Prahlad Maharaj, when he's instructing to his friends in school, in Gurukul, and all his friends, they come from demonic families, because he himself is the son of a demon, big demon, Hiranyakashipu. So they are all asuras. So he teaches them that kaumaram acharet prajna dharman bhagavatanyaha durlabha manusha janma tadapi adhruvam arthadam. That this one should try to learn this Bhagavata dharma, not any dharma. There is only one dharma. We always confuse dharma with so many so-called other dharmas we have concocted with. There is only one dharma, Sanatan dharma, that is Bhagavat dharma. And one should try to learn this from a very tender age of 5, Kaumaram. Kaumaram acharet prajna. Prajna means one who is intelligent. They should start following this dharma from a very tender age of 5, not in old age. This is not something, a retirement work. This is not a retirement job. People think that, oh, I have full life to enjoy. ये भगवद गीता क्यों पढ़ेंगे, जब बूढ़े हो जाएंगे तब देखेंगे. No, that's not true. Kaumaram acharet prajna dharman bhagavatan iha. Dharman bhagavatam. He's saying iha means this Bhagavata dharma which I am teaching you, one should try to learn and practice from a very tender age, very early age of school going. Why? Durlabham manusham janma. This human form of life, what we have gotten, it very, very rare. We get this out of 84 laksha yoni. We say that 8.4 million different species of life. It takes time to get this human form of life. It is very rare. It is very durlabha manusha janma. Tadapi adhruvam. Even though it is adhruvam, dhruvam means something that is permanent, adhruvam means temporary. So even though it is temporary, but arthadam, it is very, very valuable. Artha means something that is meaningful. Artha means something that is wealthy. Wealthy means that has very high potential. It is very valuable. So we should not waste this human form of life. So in this human form of life, if we are not using this potential, then we are doing himsa on ourselves. Actually, in Ishopanishad also, there is very beautiful verse that if we are not using this form for God realization, then it is the word I am forgetting. It is called atmaha. Atmaha means one who is doing spiritual suicide. So we are all unfortunately seeing people all around us are doing spiritual suicide. And it is very important to wake them up. That's why Jeev Jago, Gaurachanda Bole. One very beautiful Bhaktivinoda Thakur song, he writes saying that, Jeev Jago, oh living entity, please wake up, please wake up. Gaurachandra Bole, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that, please wake up. Kota nidra jao maya pishachira kole. Why are you sleeping in the lap of witch called Maya? This Maya is called Pishachi. And you are sleeping in the lap of Maya and thinking that she is giving you all the facilities. No, she's keeping you away from your real goal of life. So that's why we can talk on this so much, but that's what ahiṁsā means. Ahiṁsā means giving them the right potential of human form of life, and anything else other than that is himsa, not just physical himsa. Samatā means equanimity. We should always be in equilibrium, whatever comes in our way. Even if there are bad times come, good times come, or happiness, distress, shita, ushna, summer, winter, whatever comes in our way, we should be free from all that attachment and aversion. We should not be attached to something, and we should not be hateful to something. Oh, I like something so much, so I will indulge in that so much. I hate that thing. No, that is not. So that is what is called samatā, or equanimity, or equilibrium, living in same temperament all the time. That to be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. Then, and here it is very, one of the, actually, there are, wow, I'm thinking too many verses. This is one of the very beautiful verse that gives us what is Sharanagati. Sharanagati, we always say that we should take shelter of Krishna, we should take ashraya, or Krishna says that dharman, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So what does that Sharan mean? When we say, surrender. Oh, Sharan, surrender to me, what does that real surrender mean? So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives very beautiful definition of what is Sharanagati. And that the first two things, there are 6 angas or 6 factors he gives, 6 limbs he gives for Sharanagati. And the first two things are anukulena sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. So what is favorable, that should be accepted. So that which is favorable in prosecuting Krishna consciousness, anukul, अनुकूलस्य संकल्प, त्याचा संकल्प करणं, ते ऍक्सेप्ट करणं आणि ते करायचा प्रयत्न करणं. अनुकूलस्य संकल्प, प्रतिकूलस्य वर्जनम, and something that is unfavorable for me in my spiritual growth, I should reject that. And the simple things that scriptures give is, we should reject the first 4 abominable things, 4 root causes of all the sins. What is that? Shriya Suna Panam Dyutam.
Yes.
So Shriya means any illicit connection between man and woman. This was old days. Nowadays it's between woman and man and man also, unfortunately. World has progressed a lot. But so any illicit connection beyond marriage. Then Panam, any intoxicant, no drugs, no drinking, no smoking, no tea, no coffee, as much as possible. We are already in illusion, and these things create more, it clouds our brain more. Why do we want to get in more illusion? We are already in illusion. So that's why we should stay away from all the intoxication. Then meat eating. Meat eating is called himsa. It involves himsa because no meat, no animal products can be get without performing himsa. So we should stay away from any form of meat eating. And gambling. So gambling puts us in anxiety because gambling comes from trying not to work hard and getting more benefit. So put some money and earn a lot more, because I don't want to work too hard. I want free, everything free. Khatakhat. But anyway, so free is no, don't gamble. You can, it screws up our life. So that's why these four are called as the most sinful activities, and we should reject those. So that is unfavorable for our spiritual growth. So anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshasyeti vishwaso. Let me try to find. I don't remember the verse number. Let me see if I can. In Madhya Lila, if I remember correctly, in 22nd chapter and 100th verse. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So here it says, anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshasya iti vishwaso, and have full faith, conviction, vishwas that Krishna will protect me. Rakshasi. He to maji raksha kare. Goptrutve varanam tatha, and accept him as my maintainer, as guardian. Atma nikshepa, and surrender everything to him, my body, mind, soul, everything. Kayena vacha manasendra deva, buddhyatmanava prakriti svabhava, karoti yat yat sakalam parasmi, narayanami samarapayami. My body, mind, kaya, everything for his satisfaction. Atma nikshepa and karpanya, humility. Shadvidha sharanagati. So these 6 are the limbs of sharanagati. This is following. This means surrendering to Krishna. That's what surrender means, or that's what sharanagati means. The 6 divisions of surrender are that acceptance of those things which are favorable in devotional service, in bhakti, and rejection of unfavorable things, and conviction that Krishna will give protection, and the acceptance of Lord as one's guardian and master, and full surrender and humility. So these are the 6 limbs of Sharanagati. So that's what Sharanagati means. So that's what Prabhupada refers here. So that which is unfavorable, favorable, we should accept, and which is unfavorable, we should reject. So that person, such kind of person, can easily live in equanimity or samatā. He is always in equilibrium. Tuṣṭi means whatever we get according to which work, what we do, we should be satisfied with that. Satisfaction, samadhan. So tuṣṭi is always important, because without tuṣṭi, we always are in anxiety. So whatever we get with whatever efforts we are going, accept it as prasad of Krishna and be satisfied in that. Tapa means austerity. So tapas and austerity, Prabhupada gives some examples here that we should rise early. In all the Vedic literature, it is recommended that we should rise in Brahma Muhurta. That is about 45 minutes before sunrise. And take bath, and because morning time is in Satogun, Sattvic time, and we should use that for our spiritual practices as much as possible. So sometimes it is very troublesome to rise early and take bath, but we should take that as tapa. Or even fasting on the days like Ekadashi, or now Janmashtami is coming, or Balram Jayanti is coming. On Raksha Bandhan day is also Balram Jayanti. That's the appearance day of Lord Balram. And 1 week from that is Krishna Janmashtami. So we should try to fast to the best of our ability on these days. So that is also tapa. So that is tapas. So it is important. But one should not fast for political reasons. Satyagraha. It is nowhere recommended in Vedic literature. It is actually considered as blackmailing.
Correct.
It is not recommended. That is not a spiritual practice. We confuse that with spiritual practice. It is nowhere recommended in spiritual Vedic literature. So fasting should be done only as per recommended in the Vedic literature. On certain days, certain types and for certain type of with the sankalpa of pleasing the Lord and taking some using that time for going near God. Upavas. Upavas means going near or staying near God. So that's what the purpose is. So on that day, we try to minimize our time from cooking and eating and cleaning dishes and all that stuff, and use that time for reading about or thinking about or singing glories of God, and that way we can progress spiritually. But this fasting for political reasons is not recommended. It is called in tamogun, fasting in ignorance. It is tamasic. It is actually giving trouble to our body to get our demands fulfilled.
Right.
No, that is not recommended. It is torturing our body, and torturing our body is actually not recommended in Vedic literature because it is considered as temple of Paramatma. So only what is recommended in spiritual scriptures, that fasting we should do. Yeah, it says that fasting done according to Vedic injunctions enriches one in spiritual knowledge. Charity should be given not for feeding the hungry, feeding the poor, or for any other reasons, even for hospitals and other things, because these things technically government takes care of. So as long as we are paying our taxes honestly and doing our duty and following rules and regulations, we don't have to separately give charity for such causes. Of course, the government, if the government is corrupt, then we can help to the best of our ability. But the best charity that is recommended is for the purpose of propagating God consciousness, for spiritual reasons. And the best charity in Vedic literature recommended a charity to be given to Brahmana, real Brahmana. Brahma janati iti Brahmana. The definition of Brahman is given here. So this is very beautiful verse from Padma Purana. It says that Janmana jayato Shudra, samskarat bhaved dvija, Veda pathat bhaved vipra, Brahma janati iti Brahmana. That by birth everybody is Shudra, irrespective which family he is born into. Samskarat bhaved dvija. Then when he goes through the different samskaras, now depending on the path we follow, there are called Sola samskara or Dasha samskara, whatever, but 16 samskaras, and they start even before the conception of a child.
Correct.
The first samskara, even before the child is conception happens, the parents go through Garbhadana samskara. Then Jata Karma, and there are 16 samskaras that one should go through. And the one samskara, so Brahma Janati, Janmana Jayate Shudra Samskara, when he goes through this samskara, and when the Upanayana samskara happens, then he is called Samskarat Bhavet Dvija. Dvija means twice born. So first birth from the parents, and second birth from Upanayan, when he hears the Vedic Vani from Guru. So Veda becomes his mother and Guru becomes his father, and then that is called his second birth. And that's why they are called Dvija, second birth. Samskarat bhavet Dvija, Veda pathat, and when he becomes Dvija, then he is granted permission to do studies of the Vedas. He is officially given exposure to Vedic literature, and he can learn from Guru. So Veda Pathat, then he becomes Vipra. Vipra means a learned Brahman. And when after studying the Vedic literature and realizing what real Brahman is, Brahma Janati, when he is fully Brahma, knows what is Brahman, then he is called Brahman. So Brahmana is not a cheap thing. Brahmana is a very, very high qualified designation. Not anybody can become Brahman. So one who knows Brahman is called a Brahman. And charity is to be offered to Brahmana. So that quality, a Brahman who dedicates his life for only spreading God consciousness, giving the spiritual knowledge, he has no source of income. A Brahmana never works for other. And he never works for money. So Brahmana, his duties, there are Shat Karma, 6 works that are recommended for Brahmana. Shat Karma Nipuna. What is that? Pathan, Pathan, Yajan, Yajan, Dana, Pratigraha. So he studies the Vedic literature, Pathan. Pathan, he teaches that. Pathan, Pathan. Yajan, Yajan, he engages in Yajan, Yajna, Vidhi, Agnihotra Yajna, different kinds of puja, archa, all. And Yajan, he also helps others do that same thing. And Dana, he accepts the charity. And does he keep that charity for himself? No, his needs are very minimal. Pratigraha, he uses that charity for God consciousness. He uses that charity for different purposes. How he can use that for building temple, propagating knowledge, teaching Bhagavad Gita, teaching all the Vedic literature, and educating people. He doesn't keep it for himself. So that is Brahmana. Those are the qualities of a Brahmana given. So they are always engaged in higher spiritual service, and they have no time to earn their livelihood. That's why Dānaṁ should be given to a Brahman, and to spread God consciousness, or to a temple. So in the Vedic literature, charity also given to sannyasis, because sannyasis, they have the same type of role. So when they become sannyasi, they give up their household life and everything, and they walk from door to door, not for getting something in return, but to give spiritual knowledge, to educate the grihasthas, because the grihasthas, they are engaging, they are working class, right? So they don't have time for this all studies of the Vedas, and so they rely on brahmanas and sannyasis. So sannyasis goes, so a grihastha's duty to feed the brahmanas and sannyasis. So the sannyasis are welcome at home, and they are given some shidha, some kind of food and other thing. And while sannyasi is there, he is getting this dana. It is not that, oh, give me food and I'll go away. No, he will tell them stories from, or he will give them instructions from the Vedic literature. He will teach them something, how they can use their grihastha life for their spiritual growth. So that is sannyasi's duties. So the sannyasis beg from door to door, not for money, but for missionary purpose. What is that missionary purpose? Giving this knowledge about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Dharma, all these to the grihasthas and his families. So in my childhood, I remember Vasudev yaisa घराजवळ इकडे तिकडे, and माझी आई, she used to send me with some kind of flower, or कुठलंही कडधान्य किंवा कुठल्या डाळी वगैरे असं घेऊन जायचो आणि त्यांना द्यायचो. And I used to ask him different questions for fun that time. But it was funny, Vasudevalla. So that system is there. That has a very bigger purpose behind it. So all our Vedic culture has such a high consciousness, God consciousness, from every small things it is there. So the sannyasis, they are not beggars. So they go and teach Krishna consciousness from door to door. That's why charities should be given to brahmanas and sannyasis. Yaśo, or fame, that is one of the qualities. So yaśo, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the real fame is the fame of a devotee. All other fame is actually, it is called as infamous. So if anybody is famous for any other quality, then he is actually infamous for those qualities, because he is not using his human form of life for proper purpose. So real fame is about, like, the saintly persons who are famous. So that is real fame. Like Prabhupada, Tukaram Maharaj, Eknath Maharaj, Namdev Maharaj, or Kabir. All these people are famous everywhere. So that is real fame. So this is true famous. And then all these qualities are manifest not only in this world, but throughout the human society, or throughout the world. And there are societies beyond this planet also that we unfortunately are not aware of. So in the society of demigods, demons, or all these all qualities are there. And Krishna says that these qualities come from me alone. Krishna has created these qualities. So not that these qualities are in everywhere. They develop himself within the persons according to his association with the different modes of material nature. The more we associate with tamogun, the more abominable qualities we develop. The more we associate with rajogun or passion, then more passionate qualities we develop. Work hard and enjoy. And the more we associate with satogun or sattvic qualities, the more sattvic, which is more conducive for spiritual realization, that type of qualities we develop. But for a devotee, he develops transcendental qualities, divya qualities. So for a devotee, all the daivi qualities, daivi guna, automatically come in him. He doesn't have to work hard for developing those qualities. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. So one who has bhakti, akinchana bhakti for Krishna in his heart, Krishna, any Krishna tattva or Vishnu tattva. So for Krishna in his heart, sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. He develops all the sura, means daivi qualities. Sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna. If one is a bhakta of Hari, kuto mahadguna, what kind of good quality he may have? He may show some good qualities, but when the times comes, he will show all his qualities, real qualities, because there are no really great qualities in him, in a non-devotee. Harao bhaktasya kuto mahadguna, because manorathena sati dhavato bahi. He is always running after the external material energy to enjoy to the fullest extent. In manorathena, on the chariot of mind, he is making plans to enjoy. Manorathena asati dhavato bahi, in the external energy. He's always running. This is also Prahlad Maharaj says in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me see if I can find that. The 5th canto somewhere. If I don't, that's fine. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate sura. Yeah, this is the one. So this is also Prahlad Maharaj says. So he says, Yas asti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. One who has bhakti for Bhagavan, akinchana, unalloyed devotion for Bhagavan. Sarvair, all gunair, qualities, tatra samasate. He develops what type of qualities? Sura, means daivi, all the devatas, sura and asura. Harav abhaktasya, harav means Hari. Harav abhaktasya, one who is not devotee of Krishna. Kuto mahad guna, what type of good qualities he may develop? Mahan guna. Why? Because manorathena asati dhavato bahi. He is always running after all the external temporary things and trying to enjoy and creating that manorath. He is always running after that external qualities. So all the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion from the personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Hara Bhakti. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service, who is a bhakta and engage in material activities, has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy or Maya. How can there be any good qualities in this person? So this is what Shastra says. So no good qualities in a bhakta, non-devotees. So people may say that, oh, somebody is very nice, he is giving charity to hospitals, he is giving so much donation, but we don't know their motive.
Correct.
Yeah. So of whatever we find, good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in this material world which is not in Krishna. So that is knowledge. Although we know these things are differently situated, we should realize everything flows from Krishna. So all these qualities, Krishna says, come from me. So sorry, that was a long call and lots of discussion, but I think it was important to understand all these qualities. And Krishna says that he is the source of all these qualities. So let's take some reflections. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
तर प्रभूजी म्हणजे आतापर्यंत आपण ऐकलं रीड केलंय की
Yes.
कृष्ण everything is Krishna has done, Krishna is responsible, or Krishna creates or destroys, right? I think here it is more granular level, I believe, is gone to. And apart from this, whatever आपण जे म्हटलं होतं ना आधी की फिजिकल गोष्टी ज्या कृष्णाने क्रिएट केल्या, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दॅट these are nothing but emotions of the human being, right?
Yeah.
So that also is getting controlled by Krishna or created by Krishna, and
Yes.
maybe people are using this based on what kind of कुठल्या रजगुण, तमगुण, सतगुण याच्या क्वालिटी नुसार ते अप्लाय करत असतात.
Yes.
That's what it is. But everything is done, created by him, but controlled by individuals. That's what I will say.
Not
Control in the sense, control in the sense used by them based on their state. Yeah.
Yes, they develop these qualities according to the mode of material nature. Yes.
Right.
Nice. Perfect. Yes. Thank you for summarizing that. Yes. Any additional thoughts, Prabhuji? And sorry, that was long, but I think these are so many qualities are there, and still we spend like 2 weeks, 2 weekends in understanding these qualities. Oh, any thoughts, Prabhuji?
Yes. Something that really amazes me is the kind of qualities हे आपल्याला कधी वाटतच नाही ना नॉर्मल असताना. See, we talk of so many things in life, right? Risk management, hey, where you dig into the deepest small things. But आपल्या स्वतःबद्दल कधी असं वाटत नाही की these are the points we should ever think of. In fact, something as simple as ahiṁsā was seen as only दुसऱ्यांना त्रास देऊ नये. It can be anything. I mean, including, in fact, the kind of ahiṁsā we have been taught is something that is self-harming. त्या बाजूला मारलं तर इथे पण मारून घ्या. And now it is turning the entire thing on its head, Fasting that our gentleman Mahatma did was actually blackmail, and he claimed to be liking Vaishnava Janato. See the kind of fraud. देव कुठे आणि तो कुठे, basically nothing ever related there. I mean, how can somebody so openly say, माझा favorite song is Vaishnava Janato, and do this national blackmail? And still, 99% of our people, when you say Gandhi, the first word that comes to their mind is Mahatma.
Mhm.
So the kind of brain washing that we have been given is completely anti-Gita, if I may say so. I was just wondering. And these are all small things which anybody, which we think a little deep. I mean, as a child, you might not. But if one is taught from childhood, these are things one should.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately,
amazing.
yeah,
We have
Gita
failed.
is so misrepresented and misinterpreted. Of course, it is.
And
That's why it is very, we have to be very careful to check our
yes,
source of learning. And that's why in the Gita itself, Krishna says, we learned that evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. That we should learn this from parampara only. And who is qualified to understand Bhagavad Gita? So this is in the 4th chapter, right? 3rd verse. That bhakto se me sakha chaiti rahasyam hiyataduttamam. Saevaya maya tidyam yoga prokta puratana. Bhakto se me sakha chaiti rahasyam hiyataduttamam. That I am giving this knowledge to you, Arjuna. Why? Because you are my bhakta, devotee,
yes,
and sakha, friend. And that's why you can understand this rahasya. Krishna calls this knowledge in many places as very confidential, very secretive, as rahasya, mystery. This is open secret. We discussed this last time. Yeah. So this is secret. This is, even though this is open, but this is secret. Not everybody can understand the message of Bhagavad Gita. And it is not meant for everyone. It has to be understood from the right source that is coming directly from Krishna. So otherwise people misinterpret this, misuse this. And as you say, Gandhiji's used this Bhagavad Gita for ahiṁsā. And Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight and kill his own relatives. So what contradiction more we can have?
The surprising thing is, okay, there was some advantage in using it against the British for political reasons, maybe. But not a single person pointed it out and said, Tuja ha fasting jo hai. At least the fasting that he threatened in Nawakhali was definitely 100% blackmail on Hindus. And
So,
nobody pointed it out. Against the British, yes, because you are fighting cruelty with it. Chalo, let us accept. But here you are fighting your own people against another community unfairly, and still nobody points out. And that is what is surprising. Which means we have actually lost letting our kids get into this from a very early stage. Because as an adult, if one has to think like this, it has to come from childhood. So we can't really blame only ourselves. This rot has started much before.
So what we can do now is we can try to give this knowledge
We
to
can try.
whoever
Yes.
is sincerely seeking this. Not everybody is ready. And we should try to give it to the best of our ability to young generation and educate them and leave it to God. So,
Correct.
yeah, because if Krishna says in the end of Bhagavad Gita, yathechasi tatha kuru, that I have given you this knowledge, now do what you want. So who are we to control it? We don't have anything to control or do anything, but what we can do is we can sincerely try to spread this knowledge to as much as possible.
True.
Yep.
And that is also the beauty, right? Being Krishna, being knowing what he is, he still says, I have told you, Arjuna, now you do as you please.
Yes.
Not a single religion, right?
So
Not
he
a
doesn't
single
interfere.
rule or law.
He doesn't interfere in our little
Yes.
minute independence that he has given us.
No micromanaging.
So he doesn't interfere in that. He'll give you
Correct.
knowledge. He will guide. And he'll give you all
Yeah.
the repercussions and everything. But do what you want to do. But think
That
about
is
this
what
and then do.
that is what is the most amazing, that our God says, you please think over it. If you want, if you find it good, use it. No other God,
Mhm.
none other will ever dare say this. Indeed, Hinduism is something one can never fathom,
Mhm.
at least in this age.
Mhm.
Fantastic message.
Okay. So, Kiran Prabhu, good to see you back. Bapo Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So,
Prabhuji, jab.
yeah. Okay. Thank you for reminding. Yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Forgotten. Yeah. Okay. Let me bring my beads and then we can do. Okay. Just
yes.
give me a minute and we'll do one round.
Oh, Hare Ram Krishna.